Bueno, bienvenidas y bienvenidos. Hoy tenemos una invitada muy especial. Bueno, todas nuestras invitadas e invitados son muy especiales, pero hoy lo que distingue hoy a nuestras invitaciones hasta ahora es que es una extranjera de Alemania, es catedrática en educación y nos va a contar un poco sobre un proyecto europeo que se llama Path to Integrity. Y nuestra empresa, la empresa de Clara y mía y de Julia, que todavía no ha podido llegar, formamos parte de ese proyecto europeo. Somos socias en un proyecto europeo pagado con fondos de la Comisión Europea y Julia Pries-Buchheit es la coordinadora del proyecto. Ella nos explicará hoy de qué se trata con este proyecto, que es un proyecto de educación en integridad para empresa privada, para el sector privado y también para las universidades, para ambos sectores. Y como siempre, mil gracias a Deusto y a Eugenio en especial por cuidarnos también y por coorganizar estos webinars. También un beso a mi socia. Y, okay, now I switch. Ahora voy a hablar en inglés. Julia, I just introduced you. I just told that you are the coordinator of Path Integrity, that our company 3C Compliance is partner of Path Integrity. And I didn't introduce to you personally. You are a professor of education in Germany of the University of Coburg. Coburg is very famous. Well, everybody should know Coburg, I think. Why? Because the most famous husband of Queen Victoria, the Príncipe Alberto de Coburgo, is of Coburg. And when I had my first meeting of the project in the University of Julia in Coburg, everything is about the Queen Victoria and Príncipe Alberto. You can't escape them. They're just everywhere. So Coburg is really famous. It's a very small, beautiful city in the south of Germany, Bavaria. But at the moment, Julia, we are talking with you in the north of Germany, right? You're now in Kiel, in the north of Germany, also working, remotely, because also in Germany we have COVID-19. And so now I give you the floor. If you want to add something to your presentation, to your introduction, please go for it.
Yeah, thank you, Katharina, for the nice introduction, and hello to everybody. I think that was actually enough about my person, but if you have any questions, you can ask them, of course. I prepared really a short presentation for you. It's around 10 to 15 minutes. And if you have any questions while I'm talking, probably, I don't know if we use the raise hand, but actually I think you can just speak. Then I will hear you and we can discuss what you are asking for. And yes, after the 10 to 15 minutes, I imagined that we can come together and get the different views on compliance and research integrity in this room together, so that I can learn something too. So that would be nice. So let me share my screen first. Let me see if I can do that now here. So can you see the screen? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So when Katharina asked me to present something today, I thought, okay, we do have the topic compliance here. And so my specialty is I come from the field of education. I never was in child education. I do have 2 children, but that's all. I always was in adult education. So my whole career, I am thinking of how can we train adults, to get a better understanding of the world and to get them to do their jobs better. So this is my professional life. And since 2019, from the beginning on, as Katharina told you, I am coordinating the EU Horizon 2020 project called Path to Integrity. You can see our logo on the top of the slide. We do have a quite difficult title for our project. I brought it with me. It's Rotatory Role-Playing and Role Models to Enhance the Research Integrity Culture. But don't get confused. Yeah, I will get you through it. So what are we doing? Actually, the European Commission asked us to promote excellent research in the private and the public sector. Of course, the European Commission is interested in enhancing everything. Right now, it gets really obvious with COVID-19. Yeah, so the European Commission is giving a lot of money into research for COVID-19. But before that, so when we applied for our fund, that was in 2018, the European Commission had different goals, and one of the goals was to promote research to its highest end, so that we can, so that we as a society can get as much as possible from research, so that our lives get better. I think all of you know some of the quite famous stories from scientists and researchers who not did excellent. There is quite a famous case in the Netherlands. I think it's the most famous one. There we do have a psychologist. Actually, he was German, but he was working in the Netherlands, and he faked everything he did in his career over 10 years. He faked every single data. And his complete theory actually was nonsense. So he just did it up. And every country has one of these cases, some smaller, some bigger. But the research community is actually confronted with misconduct. And the question is, how can we, how do we handle this misconduct, and how can we promote excellency in a sense of, okay, it's not just about the misconduct. Even when we get this, in German we say black sheep, yeah, these people who are not doing well, how can we promote our students to do even better than they do now? And we applied with a educational project, and we said, okay, we will start training undergraduates, graduates, and early career researchers to comply with research integrity. And we even went further on. We said we even start with high school students in their last years to train them in research integrity, because a lot of universities tell us that it's not the problem of the university, it's the problem of the high school, so that the students are already coming with really weird habits of copy and paste and so on. That's why we decided to even start with high school students. But we have to say, these high school students, it differs a little bit from country to country, but we start with 16 years and older. Yeah, we do not go farther down. The reason for that is because our program is based on argumentation. And so what we do need is that the participants, our students, are really used to dispute and to argue and to get pro and cons further on. So we have 4 key messages in our project, and I will read them to you because I think there you can get the feeling what we are doing. The first key message is research integrity is a quality safeguard on science and technology, the social sciences and humanities. So what is saying, research integrity is a quality safeguard of everything in research, but because every country translates research differently, we wanted to get sure, so we divided it down. The second key message is research integrity protects the reputation and careers of researchers and research organizations. Third key message is research integrity contributes to social progress by building trust and accountability in science, technology, the social science, and humanities. And research integrity prevents the waste of money, time, and effort. So here you can see the overspanning field, why we started and why the European Commission gives us such a lot of money. And now I show you what we really do. So what we really do, we do formal and we support formal and informal learning. That means we prepared a quite big campaign on research integrity over the last 1.5 years. Campaign means we have billboards and posters and all this and information sheets for students. So we are raising awareness about research integrity in educational organizations. Next to that, we designed learning cards. And with these learning cards, like every lecturer, every trainer can use them however they want. Like they can use the complete series, or they just can use one for one learning unit. They are made, or they're based on innovative methods like storytelling and role play. We evaluated them if they work, and in the first year, and yes, they work. So that's really good for us. And they are used to establish learning paths with role models and this role play, what I just said. And what we are trying is we try to achieve a widespread implementation. So we promised actually that we reach 15 European countries, and it seems, yeah, it seems that we are on a good way. Yeah, we are already in a lot of countries. Here are the facts about the project, but I think if you're interested, you just go to the website and look them up. Wait 1 second here. So we have main objectives. What we did an up-to-date map of innovative educational methods. So if you are interested in, if you are a teacher or a trainer in a field which is somehow related to research integrity. I know a lot of people do not teach research integrity, but they have it as a subfield somehow in their training, and it's not just concentrated on the academic field in universities. It is also used in the private sector in companies. So if you are a trainer which helps professionals to get better in doing their research, even there you can use the learning units. And we do have this up-to-date map in which you can just look up. It's on our website. You can look up, okay, what is the newest and innovative form to teach that. As I said, we do have the campaign, and we are spreading it in educational organizations. It will start in August, so it's ready now, and now we are starting the implementation. And we have this handbook of instructions, which contains the learning units and learning cards. And we even have a train the trainer program, which is in design right now and will be ready in January 2021. So I brought you a picture about this roadmap in which you can see these innovative methods and materials you can use. So when you go to our website, you see this roadmap, and we divided it in methods, media, and content so that you have a structure to look it up. And if you, for example, click on this media tree, there you can find different comics or films on research integrity which you can use to teach. Yeah, they are all quite appealing. So it's always good for students to use something which reminds them on gamification. And we even have, there are already online apps existing to teach and train research integrity. If you go deeper down on the third level, you get like this, similar to a PDF file, which with the different links, and we even explain really shortly what the link entails, so that you just can go through and choose whatever is for you the best. So here I show you again what actually the plan is, or what our mission is and was. So we designed teaching material, and if you want, we can talk about them too, and I even can show it to you if you're interested in that. We designed the campaign. I can show you there some posters too if you're interested. And the overall aim of both of these two components, one the informal one for informal learning and the other for formal learning, is to promote excellency in research by educating and training the students or professionals. We implemented a training center and a quite big evaluation to look, okay, how does our material work in the different cultures and in the different fields? Like, does it work as good in the private sector as in the public sector? And what we want to reach visibility with this project, to get research integrity in every head. And we want to reach, of course, stakeholders and implement a network of research integrity. So overall, we are on a good way to promote excellency. We have the first feedback from our students, which were trained in over 1 year ago, and with the material, they liked it a lot. Most of them, of course not all of them, you all know them when you're a trainer, but a lot of them like the active role play and storytelling approach. And actually their feedback to us is, it doesn't depend on which stage they are. Even for the undergraduates, it was good to have this unit on research integrity at their stage where they are. So what they're telling us is, oh, it was so good to have your to do your unit, because now I know that I am actually supposed to be a researcher and to act like a researcher, and I know the codes of conduct for my institution, and I know the code of conduct on a European level. So I know that it is really different from country to country, but in Germany, actually, the undergraduates never heard of any code of conduct. They were just trained by doing research, and at the end, sometimes when actually they did a mistake, they were confronted with, but here it's written that you're not allowed to do it. So we are now turning it around, and we are telling them, okay, there are code of conducts, and these are the ways we expect you to do research. It's not like doing it right or wrong. It's more about discussing what is the best way to do research. Yeah. So our complete program is based on it's an argument-based approach. That means we are always asking the students, okay, what is your opinion in your research discipline, and how can you argue for your method? And if this argumentation doesn't go well, probably you should change your argumentation and choose another method. So that's how we work. Yeah. See? Yeah. So this was my really short presentation. I will go back to the to these 4 key messages which I have, and I don't know. Shall I let it on, Katharina? What do you think?
Well, first of all, thank you very, very much for this very interesting, inspiring presentation. Yeah, you can leave it on. So we are also confronted with the key words. I think that's good. And yeah, I have an icebreaker question. By the way, everybody, you can also ask in Spanish or write in the chat. Feel free to communicate with us in any language you want. Yeah, so while you were talking, I really very much liked when you said that also we as trainers in private sectors or public sector could use this material. Because, for example, in 3C compliance, we have a tool which is Integrity Now. So we have like cases, 40 cases, and in fact, without being, or without ever questioning it, we wanted to have it as a discussion. We always wanted to have a discussion between the participants. Because we were taught so by the developers of the game, and I never questioned it. I really just accepted it, and we, Julia translated it. Julia Sudarov translated it, and then we brought it to Spain. But now, thanks to you, I'm realizing that we are doing a right thing, right? We are using role playing or debating. And do you think this is important to debate, to have this debate about the cases?
Yeah, actually, I do think it's the only way to teach it, because it's not the only way. It depends on what you want to achieve. But if you want to achieve that your students position themselves in a sense of who am I as a researcher, then I think you need debate and arguments, because if you're just memorizing, like I think all of us, it depends how old you are, but I'm just guessing, I do not see you, but I'm guessing all of us can remember our own training. And in my training, a lot of times it was, okay, you have to memorize, you have to sit down, you have to memorize what your lecturer is telling you up front, and actually that leads sometimes to compliance, no question, because we were always like that. But sometimes it leads to a confusion in the sense of, okay, I'm memorizing it, but that's not me. Yeah, it's just something I take in, and I quickly can take it out again in a sense of, okay, that's not me. So what like your debate and what we are using too, the role play, that's something which triggers who am I, and what is my position. And actually what it leads to is that sometimes the position of the students is different than the position of the lecturer and trainer. And actually I think that is okay. It was before too, but the trainers didn't know because they didn't ask. Yeah. So if it arises, it's sometimes like, oh my God, they don't listen to me. Yeah. But yes, believe me, they had in former times they had this thoughts too, but they just didn't tell you. So.
Wow, yeah. Yeah, thank you. I actually often have this impression they don't listen to me or they didn't learn anything. Yeah, very exasperating moments. So, okay, so I asked you about the debate. Integrity Now, we have these 40 cards and we play these cases and we have debates. And sometimes we have clients that want us to adapt cases which comes from their companies. And then I tell them, but I tell them only because I think so, not because it's based on science or nothing. It's just because I thought so. I tell them I don't think it's a good idea to use the exact cases that happened in the company, but it's better if we can use the basic case, but then we have to develop it. We have to change name, of course, always change names, but also the situation, because and that I read somehow that it's easier to connect with an issue if it's not yours. So the role play, right? Is this about role playing to make it easier to understand, also to see something from a different point of view?
Okay, like these are for me two questions. Like the first one is, am I allowed, or shall I use a real case, or shall I make a case up which is connected to a real case? And there is a lot of discussion about this. So you have different parties, and the one party is for using the real case, and the other party is saying, oh no, don't use the real case. So in research integrity, there are always two arguments. So the party who is for using the real cases, they argue that it is important for the students to acknowledge that this misconduct happened in their own university. So that it makes it important in the sense of, okay, we have to be careful. Yeah, we have to take care of this. For me, there is always a little switch in the argumentation there, because I follow this argument, but at the same time I don't think that it is important that the students learn that their misconduct was in their university. For me, it's far more important that they learn not to do misconduct. So it's not about memorizing the case of their own university. For me, it's much more important that they learn not to do misconduct. Yeah? And for not doing misconduct, actually, I do not have to know the real case. Yeah? I need a case which is didactical. It is a didactical case in a sense of, oh, okay, I have to do this and then I have to do that, so that I can learn how to do it in a proper way.
In Spanish, I think we would use the word pedagogical case.
Okay.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's yeah. So for me, it's important that it is a pedagogical case. Yeah. If you find a real pedagogical case, okay, just go. But normally these real cases are quite difficult, yeah, and often do not fit in a pedagogical approach. That's why I always say, okay, just start with a fictional case. So this was the first question. The second question was about role playing. Actually, yes, I do think that role playing has a lot to do with who am I in this case, and who do I want to be. That's the most important question. Yeah. Everybody of us knows that you can change. Yeah. Even if you copy and paste last month, yeah, you can stop copy and pasting in this month, and you can stop it for the future. And I always use from Martha, so Martha Nussbaum used the term sympathetic imagination. And I really like this term, because it explains what happens when you role play. So you get the story, you get into the story, yeah, because you're playing, for example, Emma, a student who is really eager to do everything right, yeah. And if you're playing this and you are actually not this type, yeah, then you question yourself while playing, okay, who am I? Probably I am a little bit like Emma, or where are my challenges? Why do I not follow Emma? And it goes on and on. And this is really important in training integrity, because integrity is about what do I do, and do I have the motivation to do it right? It's a lot about motivation. It's normally not about knowing. So a lot of my students know that they're not allowed to copy and paste, but some of them do. Yeah, it's a question of motivation, actually.
I'm so sorry now to ask you this question. I know this is not really bringing us forward, but I feel somehow obliged, because research integrity, integridad en la investigación, I think nobody knows this expression in Spanish, neither in German. We have discovered this. So, but I think, yeah, many of us are more familiar with ethics, research ethics. So just in a very tiny nutshell, what is the difference between research ethics and research integrity?
Yeah, this is a really good question. And yeah, we do have a lot of positions on that. But from a pedagogical view, actually, there is a difference, and it's quite a big difference. So when you think about research ethics, you have cases such like, am I allowed to use this animal for doing my research to get medication for COVID-19? Yeah. So it's like, what is more valuable, the animal or the humans? Or we do have, like in social science, we had this famous case of, am I allowed to use violence against testes? Yeah. Okay. Nowadays, it sounds horrible, but okay, just look back to the 60s and 70s, what they did with the testes. Yeah. So and all these questions. So it's always a moral question. It's about like always two different norms which are not in line, which is actually speaking against each other. And it's always about the decision: what should I do? Yeah, should I follow this or should I follow that? In research integrity, it's not about should I follow this or should I follow that. Yeah, it's really clear what I should follow. We just take this copy and paste example because it's the easiest one. Yeah, I should not copy and paste, and you normally know it. Yeah, there are a few cases who do not know, but we leave them aside. And it is a question about motivation, control, and actually, oh, how do you say in English? It's about uh, giving, uh, oh, how do you say? Belohnungssysteme?
Incentives.
You're giving incentives. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. It's about that. So if you teach research, if you teach integrity, incomplete, yeah, it's not just research integrity. If you teach integrity, it's more about arguing why is it important that we follow this rule, and if you do not want to follow this rule, yeah, how can you speak up and change the rule to make it better? Yeah, but it's not about is it good this or that. Yeah, it's actually it's this, and if you do not want this, how can we make this better? Yeah? Yes, and so from a pedagogical view, we have really different fields, but they are combined. So in practice, they are combined. We work a lot with research ethics commissions because they are sometimes confronted with research integrity problems. And we do work with research integrity officers. So in some countries, they're called ombudspersons because they are confronted with research ethics cases. So because the field around us is switching these two fields up and down, yeah, yes, we are in the middle of it. But our program actually is for, like the training program is explicitly for research, for integrity cases, yeah.
Thank you so much for this very clear clarification. So now I think I was looking who is online. I think some of us are compliance officers, others are in university. How could we use these path to integrity learning cards, or in Spanish, fichas? What could we do? What now after this webinar, what could we practically do?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so first of all, they're open access, so you can use them. Yeah, they're on our website. The website is called Path to Integrity .eu, and you can use them. So we have 3 series: the S series, M series, and Y series. So one is for undergraduates, the other one is for graduates, and the other one is for early career researchers or professionals in private sector. Um, and you can use them however you want. So it's actually innate for you. You can do the whole series, but that takes a really long time. It's a complete seminar, and I know a lot of people, it's not possible in the most organizations to do that. You can use just one card. That means you choose out of the topics the subfield but which interests you and your students most. So it spans from how do I collaborate in research, yeah, how do I publish in research, how do I, or what are the safeguards in my research environment, which code of conduct do I have in my institution. So these are all the subfields which exist like in the learning units. So you just choose one, you take this card, and then so one card entails a learning unit from 90 to 120 minutes, but you can shorten it if you want. Yeah, it's no problem to do it in 60 minutes too, if you just leave some parts out, or you can expand it a little bit more if you let the discussion grow between your students. So yeah, you choose one, and either if you're interested, you really go through like it is. It is a manual in a sense of, okay, you can start with this, and then you can do that exercise, then you do this exercise. Or you think, okay, I just pick one exercise because I like this exercise, and use it in your sessions. So it's really variable how to use them. You can, yeah, you can do it however you want. If you are interested in getting feedback, or if you need to know something about the learning cards, you can reach out to me or to Lisa Herberlein from Coburg University. I think her email is written on the web page too, because she's in charge of the learning cards.
And we have a community integrity community leader for Spain. She is from the University of Sevilla, and yeah, you can also find her on our webpage. But very practically, do you think it would be a good idea we have some more minutes that I just upload a card and we have a look quickly? Yeah?
Yeah.
So which one would you suggest? Which card? The S? Yeah?
You can use the M2 card.
The M2? Yeah. And maybe you can explain that there is always cases, that the cards refer to cases,
Yeah, so research showed that students really have problems to connect with research integrity, in the sense of they are not interested in learning research integrity, and that's why we use the story to get the students into the topic. It's a bit of gamification. It was used before gamification, but if you are a computer player, that's how computer games start. Yeah, you start the game and then you get about 5 to 10 minutes of story. Yeah, in the sense of, oh, you are now in the jungle and you have to find whatever. So that's what we used to. Not with the jungle. We have for the undergraduates, we have a story about students, younger students, and for the M and Y, for the older ones, we have a story about Hannah, who is an employee, and she's attending a committee, and actually the committee is discussing about new integrity rules, but she doesn't understand a lot because she's new. So almost every card starts with the story, and then the exercises connect to this story. So we do have an effect if you do more than one card. The students already know that the story will come up, and they are getting quite keen about the story, because then they're getting in the roles and they know it better, and then they start discussing, and it helps them, to get into the topic. And actually, they start with playing a role, like in the case of Hannah, but one is called Hannah. So they start with playing Hannah. And then you realize as a trainer, okay, after the second or third session, they start to not saying Hannah, but they start to saying I am. Yeah. So yes, it's a way to get them into the topic and then get them engaged.
Okay, I'm now on our website, but I can't, I just learned that I can't, yeah, thank you. And I was just thinking that I show quickly the whole website. You can see it now, right?
Yes.
Super. Yeah, so this is the website Julia was talking about. And here you can see, well, I can show you how you can enter the materials. So this is how you enter in Path Integrity. And then you can go to the RI materials here. And here are the two stories that Julia was talking about, the S series stories about Emma, and the Y series about Hannah. And you suggested to open the M2 card. Yeah. Here it is. Okay. Do you think I should download it, or is it okay like this?
I think it's okay like this.
Yeah.
So every learning card consists of 2 pages. It's really short, not to overload the trainer and the students. And actually, the first page, which is showing now, is only for the trainer. So it shows which topic it is, always with the title. So here it's researchers design, carry out, analyze, and document research in a careful and well-considered manner. It is a quotation from the European Code of Conduct. And there you can see, okay, this card is about research methods. Yeah. Every learning card is usable for different disciplines. So we took care of it that it is usable from social science to humanities to whatever field you're from. Okay, then you see the description and background, and there you can read what this learning unit is about. So this one introduces researchers to questionable research procedures and reliable research results. It builds the competency to discuss research procedures and research results, and it challenges the researchers to explain and justify complex research norms.
And what does role model mean, and why is there an empty space?
So yeah, this is because this is our first version. So we do have role models, but they were not ready. Like the pictures were not ready when we published them. So soon, I think actually in 4 or 5 weeks, you will find the learning cards with a picture of a role model there. We collected role models from Spain, from Denmark, from Germany, from a lot of countries, and yes, they're quite famous researchers who stand to be an advocate for research integrity. So their pictures will be implemented there. Right now, it's just an empty space. It's sometimes confusing, I know.
So it will be a surprise who are the Spanish role models. I won't tell it right now. And before we go further, will there be a Spanish translation? Will there be,
Yes, we are translating in around 8 European languages, and Spanish, of course, is one of it. We hope that we will finish the translations until September, September 2020.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and we will upload them on our website, actually like it is now. And yes, so you can read them there.
Okay, so the keywords, I think they explain themselves. So I just go further down.
Yeah, so we have these 2 boxes. One is the learning objectives. So this is typical for an educationist, and because I was the lead of it, we do have the learning objectives on the cards. It is specific stated what the students will learn with this card when they do the unit. And the learning stages, they show you, okay, if you go through the complete unit, okay, what is step by step the task for the students.
Mm-hmm.
And you will find these 5 steps now on the second page. So if you show the second page, so here you have it. So the first step is to introduce the topic. And we always start with, so you can use a flipped classroom approach if you want to. That means you give homework for your students to prepare for the session. If they're not used to it, or if you do not like it, you start every session as a reading session. Yeah, and we do have here, please read the paragraph on good research practice in the European Code of Conduct. And then if your students are quite handy with the QR code, they just can QR code and actually they can read it. Yeah, so it works. But we got feedback that some people do not know how it works. But if you do not know how the QR code works, you just type into Google European Code of Conduct on research integrity, and then you find it. Okay. Yeah, then there are different different tasks. I don't think that we have to go through here, but the interesting thing is always the pink part. Yeah? So every card has a pink part, and here it's engage in role play, and there you can see, okay, this is the part where the students get active. I get a lot of questions about how do you do it now with remote learning. We are now all forced to stay at home and do remote learning. And I can tell you it works. It works with remote learning. It takes a little bit more preparation time for the trainer, actually, because you have to know how to use Zoom. It depends which tool you use, but you have to know how to use Zoom and have to know how to use the breakout sessions in Zoom. So to divide your students that they can discuss in little groups and get them back together. But if you are used to it, and if you get acquainted with it, it is possible to do it in a remote approach. So And then after the engaging, activating part, we always have reflecting time, in the sense of that you come together as a class again, and then you explain and justify the research rules you used, and then you evaluate together different arguments. On this card, we just have a little yellow part, but on every card there is a yellow part with the bulb. And there we always have, like, this is the input which is necessary for the students to follow actually through the card. So you can start with every student. They don't have to have a clue about research integrity. Yeah, they get every information they need. They get over the reading session up front and with the yellow part.
Well, that was a quick, a very well conducted description of how to use this learning card. So in fact, the University of Deusto, which is our host university today, they could use this card now, let's say in September, right? September, October, when the university starts, for example, for their freshmen, fresh women, in order to explain from the very beginning what is research integrity for, yeah, the students that start studying there. But also the same companies could use these cards for, or the compliance officers here in the group could use these cards for the trainings on, yeah, compliance integrity issues in the companies.
Yes, and so I would advise for the companies to use the Y series, Y. And yes, and for universities, it depends who you are who you are training. But when you go for freshmen, I would use the S series. And actually, we designed an online. So if you just want to get an impression about, or just use one card, you can just use one card, or you can use the tool Trust in Science. Probably, Katharina, you can show it too, because this is really nice for freshmen, because if it's not so trainer based. So if you want to implement it into your official seminars, when you are teaching a seminar or your workshop or whatever, then I would advise to use a learning card, to choose one of the learning cards. Up from September, you can have them in Spanish, or they will be there in Spanish. But if you want to introduce your freshmen in the, I don't know if you have it, but we have in Germany, we have this welcoming weeks. So where the students just get acquainted with the university, where can I find books, where can I find articles, where is my room, where do I sleep, and all this stuff. There you can actually use this tool. It's online based, a website based. It's called Trust in Science, and it is built on one of the learning cards. You do not recognize it if you do not know it, but it's the same story. It starts with Emma, and it is a short introduction. And actually, the students have to collaborate and use it by themselves. In the sense of, you just give them the tool and you tell them, okay, please go through this one exercise. And the students are asked to find 6 other students to discuss the topics which are on the website. And yes, as Katharina shows, it's a really fascinating website, because it has implemented a translation tool. So it translates itself. If you press the button, it translates itself into Spanish. So I just checked the German translation. The German translation is really good. I am amazed by it. Of course, there you see that it is not written in German, but you can understand everything.
Yeah, for example, here I think it would be better to say integridad en la investigación y no de la investigación. But yeah, I agree. It's okay. You can understand it absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, it's already 5 minutes over the
okay.
time. Yeah, I mean, I could go on for ages now, but yeah, I think this is in a nutshell already a lot what you have been telling us. a lot of material that you have given us for free. I mean, you don't charge for it. Nobody's making money with this. It's really open source. Everybody can use it. And it's about spreading the word on research integrity, integridad en la investigación, in the private sector, in the public sector. And is there something else you would like to tell us here in Spain? Some very key message, something you want to, yeah.
No, I would be interested in an exchange. Yeah, so not about my learning curve. So if you say, oh no, we have our own stuff to teach that matter, that's okay for me. I know sometimes how that works. But if you are teaching research integrity, yeah, that would be interesting to get to know you and just to get, yeah, so that we can connect somehow. As Katharina said, we are building this fast integrity community. That doesn't mean that you have to teach fast integrity. It's more about getting people together who are training actually in research integrity, and to get a network where we can exchange our ideas and how training gets really effective. That would be, yeah, that would be interesting for me.
Wonderful. And you could also put them on the website, right? On the Path Integrity website. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you are interested in joining the network in a sense of exchanging ideas about how to train research integrity, yes, you can reach out, and then we can combine us with the Path Integrity website, because there is the network. Just if you want, yeah, if it's interesting for you. If not, we can just exchange words. That would be great.
Wonderful. I don't want to take more of your time, because I know you're highly, highly busy and occupied, but I really enjoyed this conversation. Every time I also learned something new. I did actually today. I will tell you later. And yeah, so thank you very much for your time, for explaining everything, and for your availability. And I'm very much looking forward to our broader continuing our relationship between Germany and Spain in relation with research integrity.
Yeah, thank you, Katharina, for inviting me. It was really a pleasure. I hope that it was interesting for you. It's quite a weird situation in this remote thing, so but I hope it was interesting for you. Probably you can just give me feedback via email or via Katharina if you liked it or not liked it. And yes, thank you for the invitation. It was a pleasure to speak here.
So see you very, very soon, and have a lovely evening now in Germany.
Exactly. Okay. We start with our evening now, yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye, everybody. Adios.
Thank you. Bye.